there was an interesting moment. I mentioned Blake Masters before. Let's go ahead and put this next piece up on the screen. So Masters actually came out immediately and was like, yeah, I signed on to this. Of course, he said I would support Graham's bill. At the same time, his campaign spokesman had retweeted a message that, this is from the Washington Post, appeared to channel some GOP groans over Graham's announcement. The retweet was just, why? He later deleted that retweet. But clearly, you know, he and his candidate not exactly on the same page as to what the political impact here might be.
Yeah, that one's pretty funny. I agree. I mean, it's interesting to see the freak out. I mean, with Masters in general, like, he just doesn't want to talk about abortion at all. He put out that one ad and he's like, all right, let's move on. Let's never talk about it ever again.
Deleted his whole previous section from his website.
He had a problem. I mean, he's the guy who put on his website, federal personhood bill, like all this stuff, went hard in the paint when absolutely nobody asked him to do so, you know, whenever he wanted to, and then he had to reverse course because he's getting hammered with, you know, $20 million in ads on abortion. So on that, you know, I don't have particularly amount of sympathy because it's genuinely a self-inflicted wound. So yeah, look, I think that your overall analysis is correct, which is that if you're talking about abortion, period, no matter what the specifics are, and you're Republican, you're probably just going to lose, given who your allies are on that.
Well, and it's not just pro-choice people like me who see it that way. Charlie Kirk, who is very pro-life, also thinks just from a political perspective that this was a very bad move on Lindsey Graham's part. Let's take a listen to what he had to say.
Why is Lindsey Graham, 25 days out from ballots going out, galloping in and saying, we need a federal abortion ban? Really, where have you been, Lindsey Graham? That feels like election interference. And I say this as someone who is so pro-life. I would love a total abortion ban. 15 weeks is not enough, but I'm also not dumb. 25 days out from ballots going out, the Democrats are applauding, thank you, Lindsey Graham, for making this issue about abortion.
I mean, I think his political analysis there is pretty correct. Like, this is the last issue that Republicans really want to be talking about right now. And so that's why there's, I mean, McConnell, however you feel about him, fairly savvy political operator. And the fact that he's like, no, we're not moving forward with this, I think tells you a lot.
Oh, absolutely. Well, that's another interesting thing on McConnell itself, which is that how are you letting all this stuff happen in your caucus, man? I mean, you really are losing control. Lindsey didn't consult anybody, just came out and did
freelancing.
Which is interesting. Yeah, I wonder what his calculus on it. I think he probably sees it the way he's like, look, we just need to settle this. He's like, I'm sick of all these attacks. Lindsey's always been like kind of a, quote, squish, you know, to these people. So he's like, let's just force everybody's hand and let's unite the entire Republican Party. But part of the issue is, as Kirk is saying, it's like, you know, listen to what Kirk actually wants. Which is that, so is there any real uniting these people?
Well, same thing. I mean, Blake Masters had said, I think he was one of the ones that said abortion is genocide. And so it's like, we know you're not going to be satisfied with 15 weeks. So that's, people see through where the initial stance is and where they would ultimately want to go here. I mean, it is kind of revealing, though, too, that he acknowledges, like, the American public is not with us on this issue, so we kind of need to hide the ball in advance of the election on what we actually want to do, which I think is revealing as well. I don't know what Graham's calculation was. I mean, look, you have people who have a genuine ideological commitment, and I understand that. And it could just be coming literally from that. I mean, Mike Pence said something like, this issue was more important than any sort of short-term political gain, basically acknowledging, like, yeah, this might be bad for us in the fall, but I think that there's a higher priority here. So maybe it does come from that genuine place versus any sort of political calculus. But ultimately, I don't think it's going to be helpful to their chances.
Yeah, I think you're correct.
Cable news is ripping us apart, dividing the country, making it impossible to function as a society, and making it impossible to know just what is true and what is false. But the good news is they are failing and they know it.
That is why we're building something new, a new mainstream, a healthier one, something more trustworthy, something that we are going to need in one of the most pivotal times in American history. We are building up here for the midterms, for the upcoming presidential election, but we need your help. So if you can help us out by becoming a premium member today at breakingpoints.com, we're trying to change America for the better and the entire world.
So what are you waiting for, guys? Go to breakingpoints.com and sign up and help us build a new mainstream.